Hi, Kimmie. It's Ashley here. I kind of just I wanted to just go over your response. Well, not kind of, it's required, but it's our last one for this semester, I believe. So yay, we're almost there. So just really quick, just some things I took from your discussion was the purpose of evaluating the counseling program. It measures our form of counseling, and it's good to see results to see if the interventions are working. I really liked how you had mentioned about looking at enough, not just the test scores. So my notes here are all over the place, but I kind of had mentioned that a little bit too about when evaluating a program, not just academically, because I feel like we already have enough of that academic data with benchmarks and now the TIA, that constant testing for the students and multiple platforms. For example, the reading benchmark, that's one subject, and then math and then science and social studies, and then also not only that, but there's iReady. There's Help Us if the students are in bilingual lab class, and there's M-Class for the lower grades, and so on. All these different platforms to collect data from. And the only one that I've seen that has social emotional is the pre-K one, actually, with CLI. It does measure them and ask questions about their social emotional well-being, so how they are in their self-confidence, how they are when interacting with other students, and so on. So I feel like that's a good little measure for that, and I feel maybe to being able to implement a system similar to that with all the other grades would be good, because you could how you mentioned you could evaluate the entire student and not just their test scores in the academic area. The next part you had mentioned was surveys. I did also mention that too, but I liked how you had put follow-up studies. This would be good maybe perhaps after a counseling session that you do with a classroom, or even with a group, doing the follow-up studies with that, and how you had mentioned pre and post sessions. I feel like that would also be good. For example, how the students felt and thought and interacted with. Example, pretend the lesson is, I'm just thinking, the lesson could be something like a topic on feeling included, feeling their culture is included, or bullying, or feeling important and having self-value, things like that. Maybe we could do a pre and post follow-up session with that. I feel like that would be a good idea. Another part you had mentioned was finding out if the interventions are working, which is good. Why we should do, I had mentioned in my discussion about that end of year surveys I feel are not enough for the counseling program, because that's what they do here in my district, only an end of year one. But I feel this is good having one in the beginning, middle as well. And also I really love your ideas on the follow-up sessions and the pre and post follow-up studies and pre and post sessions. I feel like those are really good, and being able to measure students not just academically but social emotional. And then the other part was here, the last part I'll just touch up on, was the barriers in collecting data. You had mentioned the internet access. I feel that's a big one too, so I feel like it's very important maybe to just have it mandatory for students to be able to do these surveys and studies within school hours on campus, so that they can be able to have access to the internet and do that. And how you had mentioned it's constant, how you all and your campus, it's constant moving for you all. So the data is not that it's not relevant, but it's not, I guess in a way, measurable in it. I don't know if that's the right word, but since there is a constant change, that is difficult to measure, and it'd be interesting to know how that would work, how to measure that. And the different types And it's important to collect different types of data, which is very good because, like how we mentioned, the academic, the social, and so on. But I'll go ahead and stop here, and happy almost end of the semester. See you later.